special family, welcome back to another video. Today we're doing another Reddit edition and the title is, Has anyone gotten a divorce because of their autistic children? It's from the Venting Needs Support thread. So here's a story. Throw away because I'm ashamed I'm writing this. I had a written long detailed post about our situation, but unfortunately my phone decided to restart, so now I'm just keeping things shorter and sweet. My wife, 29 female, and I, 31, have two kids, 3-year-old son and a 4-year-old daughter. My daughter has moderate to severe autism, global developmental delay, and I suspect ADHD, but not diagnosed. My son has moderate autism and seems more intelligent than my daughter, but still behind on milestones. Both are nonverbal and both are in several hours of ABA speech, OT, and SI each week. To put things bluntly, I'm mentally effing destroyed by the situation with my kids and home life. We spend so much time and money trying to get these kids caught up with their language and basic life skills, and there's been barely any progress in addition to all of their hours of therapy each week. We've been many other things over the last year and a half to help them. We feed them home-cooked organic whole foods, give them nutritional supplements, taken them to hyperbaric oxygen therapy. We've done magnetic resonance therapy, biomedical treatment with a functional medicine. Nothing works. I feel like I'm at the end of my rope because of the lack of improvement and learning. I've gotten off all social media because all my loved ones and friends keep posting their normal kids. We've basically isolated ourselves from our normal friend group because we all have kids around the same age and theirs all look geniuses compared to my kid. It's extremely depressing, and I just feel like I can't do it any longer. It's gotten to the point that when my wife brings the kids home from their therapies, I now step out the house every time just to avoid dealing with all the screeching, yelling, and autistic behaviors. I know that sounds very selfish, but when I stay home dealing with it, I get so depressed and angry and put my wife in a depressed mood as well. So I leave to avoid getting in that headspace. I feel like I don't even enjoy being around my kids anymore because it makes me so incredibly depressed. So now I just try to avoid them whenever I can, but obviously it's not sustainable long term. I'm glad you know it can be very depressing and yeah, it's a lot of work. It's gotten so bad that I seriously contemplate taking my own life many times. It's affected my job because I spend so much time reading up on the latest autism medical treatments and clinical trials during the day, hoping that maybe something will be discovered that can lift my family from this cold, horrible reality. I've tried to cope with this as best as I can by having regular bi-weekly dates with my wife, but it's not enough. My in-law graciously take care of my children so we can have our 2 to 3 hours of alone time every 2 weeks, which is more than they have to do, but it's far from enough for me. I dread having to pick them after our dinner dates because it's like reality smacking me in the face. I feel so shitty saying all of this. My kids are sweet kids and they're innocent. I know this situation is not their fault, but I've come to realize that even though I love my kids, I don't like them. I feel like I actually resent them for bringing this condition into our lives and making us miserable. Even though I know it was our choice to bring them into this world, I also feel horrible about it because I know they can probably sense my resentment and it will negatively affect them as they get older. You can rip me apart in the comments, but it is honestly how I feel. They can sense it, yes. But ripping you apart for this? No, you're just sharing your real life feelings without sugarcoating it. Because there are a lot of parents out there with special need kids who feel like you do. At least you're honest and truthful about it. Let's keep going. So this is where I'm at currently. I've really been contemplating getting a divorce. Whoa. Giving my wife full custody of the kids and just providing financial support. My wife has no idea I've been thinking this, and I know it would be a huge shock blow to her. But after contemplating suicide several times, I had a serious talk with my wife. I told her that if it became clear that the kids had no hope of living independently, that I wanted to look at putting them in some sort of group home or private care facility. Even if I had to come up with some way to pay for it. I want to selflessly get some kind of normalcy back into our lives. She was completely against the idea. She said, would she said would take care of the kids forever if she had to. And that's when I realized that for the first time in our relationship, we had vastly opposing plans for the future. Whoa, that's a big blow. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been struggling with it, and I had to come up with that plan as well, because mentally and physically, it takes a big toll on you. And I've had the same ideas you had. I come a long way. And trust me, sometimes it's the best. But if she doesn't see an end to this, then for your mental health and for you staying alive, I would not tear you to shreds. I would say you're telling us your honest truth, and if it's gonna cost you all of that to take your own, I would say go that route. But let's keep reading. She was completely against the idea. She said she would take care of the kids forever if she had to. And that's when I realized that for the first time, our relationship, we had vastly opposing plans for the future. I'm under no circumstances okay with taking care of the kids for life. I can deal with my depression and misery for several years if eventually we can get back some kind of normalcy and maybe travel together in our later years. But if her plan is to take care for our children until death, then I feel like at some point I would have to walk away, both for my own sanity and for the benefit of my children, who sadly have a father who resents their uncontrollable condition. It sounds harsh, but they're true facts. These are facts. I love my wife so much. She's my best friend, and we've had an incredible relationship going on 10 years so far. I have so many tears right now just thinking about it, but I just feel like I can't do this anymore. I feel like I'm more of a liability to my children by being around. My patience with their behavior and lack of development has worn extremely thin. I know they can sense my resentment towards them. Yes, they can. And my mental health has become so fragile since I discovered that my kids were special needs. Same here. I also affect my wife's mood when she sees how depressed I get, which is a lot. My relationship with my wife is the only thing that's kept me going these last few years. That and the dwindling hope that my kids will eventually catch up in their development. I feel an immense amount of guilt at the thought of leaving her to deal with two special need kids on her own. That's so overwhelming for one person to handle. I also know that children tend to have much better outcomes in two-parent households, and I would be affecting the trajectory of their future by walking away. I'm just a former shell of the person I once was. I used to be so happy, ambitious, and hopeful. But do you people do this? I know many of you just accept that you no longer have a normal life anymore. But I can't tell myself that, or I'll just collapse. I have to hold some hope that normalcy is in my future, even if it may not be. It's been 3 years since I've learned about autism because of my daughter. I thought I would have accepted things by now, but I haven't. Far from it, actually. I've tried to fight it and tell myself our lives will be normal again, but seeing each thing we try fail and watch my children fall apart, far and watch my children fall further behind each day just throws me into a deeper pit of despair. I'm sitting in my car writing this because I again had to step away when my kids get home from their Saturday social therapy classes. I'm a piece of ish. Just to add, I've been on antidepressant meds since finding out that they were special needs. It's done little to nothing. So after all of that, let's go to the comment section and see what the commenters have to say. First comment is from Priorback3377. How much therapy are you giving yourself, friend? I know the time, the cost. You are a person who just had their hopes and dreams altered in an extreme way. You deserve the self-care. Your children are getting a boatload of support. It's going to take a time for growth to happen. It's time to cut back on the new research and options for them and give that time to yourself and likely your wife as well. She also could really benefit from therapy given her workload and the new knowledge of your mental outlook. You can try, right? Just a little. One appointment. I think you can. You're here, you're asking, you can do one appointment. You can even do virtual from your quiet car in the driveway or work parking lot and cut away travel time. Okay, next commenter, Black Rose says, I honestly can relate to the way you're feeling in so many ways, except I'm a mom. Told you. My son was diagnosed at 2. I had noticed he was different from all his cousins and other kids I knew. He just stopped everything. One day he had a loss of speech and just started displaying typical autistic behavior. I spoke with his pediatrician, and that's when we got the diagnosis. I cried. I cried so hard on the way home. Why my kid? What did he do to deserve this? The real behavior started to hit around 3.5. It was brutal, screaming, crying. It wasn't only him. I was a mess. I would literally sit on my kitchen floor and curl up in a ball and cry, screaming at God and the universe for giving me this shitty hand. I was so angry. I resented my own child. The child I brought into this world, I resented it. I didn't want to be a mom anymore. I was hurt. I couldn't for the life of me understand why my child was chosen to be this way. There have been moments where I've had to walk out of or take him to his grandparents' house to get a breather. And that's okay. What's not okay, and I realized I was making the same mistake you're making, is doing this constantly. Exactly. How are you making the children feel? Just because they're autistic doesn't mean they don't notice you're never around them. Yes, they very well could be thinking, my dad doesn't want to be around me because I'm different. You never know what's going through their little heads. I completely understand this isn't what you dreamed when you decided to have kids. I think that every day, but I still have to do it every day. Why? Because I love my son and he will never get to be his best self if I give up on him. It seems to me you're in the grieving stage. We have all been there. It's okay. You're not alone and you're not a shitty person for feeling that way. It's normal. But you should never give up on your children. They are still young with plenty of room to grow. Autism is not a death sentence. I'm not going to say it's a bed of roses and it's never going to be hard, but it's not the end of the world either. Now, I can also relate to how your wife would feel. I was a single mother for a while before I found my husband, who thankfully loved my son and me enough to take on the challenges when most men ghosted me. Being a single mom to a special needs child was the hardest thing I've done. His bio dad wanted nothing to do with him after he was diagnosed. Left into thin air, never seen or heard from him again. This impacted me so much. I had to do everything alone. Doctor's appointments, school meetings, therapy. I was so stressed. I honestly no longer wanted to live. Your wife needs support. I can almost guarantee that she's breaking down when nobody's looking and she's so hurt. She is. From a mother's perspective, she's probably also blaming herself. I did that for years because I felt like I caused it. She wants her kids to be their best and she's willing to be an amazing mom and do what it takes for them. You need to talk to her. Both of you need to have a heart-to-heart and let all feelings out. I'm going to strongly advise the both of you to look into marriage and individual therapies. I know you said you have done it. You've had it. But you need to find a therapist that fits with you and then you will make the changes. I've gone through quite a few before I found a fit. But remember, despite all the depression and negativity, they need you. It's not rainbows and unicorns. However, my favorite thing to say when I get down is you can't grow flowers without watering them. Think about it. So another person responded, remember the cat, and says, I have been there where you've been. I have a child with ASD who will probably never be independent. First off, you got the guilt and the heartbreak of having not one but 2 children with autism. It sucks. Will the therapy that they are in help? Yes, but they will take time. 2, stop blaming yourself. Being a parent sucks. Being a parent of an autistic child sucks more. Do you love your kids? Yes. Do you have to like your kids all the time? No. No one likes their kids 100% of the time. Any who says they do is lying to themselves. You need more time off than once every 2 weeks. One time, my wife and me only got 3 hours a month to ourselves, and it nearly broke us as a couple. Get yourself some respite care. This is childcare for special need. This can be through local groups, county services, or private care. This will be unpopular, but I noticed this. Stop the BS. Your kids don't need a whole food diet or magnetic resonance therapy or hyperbaric therapy. Your children need you. They need routine and they need professional therapy. Only put them on a diet if its nutrition is recommended. My kid has gastrointestinal problems and really he just needs Miralax, not a complete diet free from dyes. Save some money, do fun stuff, keep ABA OT speech. The rest is just fodder. Get the kids into public school. Title 10 requires special education for children to fund it and provide it. That is the law. Most states have early full day program for special needs children. This helps in a few ways. It helps your kid get into routine and work with teachers who are trained to work with children. It gives you a break to take care of you when they aren't around. I don't know the situation of you and your spouse beyond what you have said, but there is nothing wrong in planning for the future. You do need to plan what will happen if your children don't get better. There is nothing wrong with that. If that means a care home, then that's a plan. Your spouse needs to be open to the ideas, but it might take some time. My spouse didn't want my son on medication, but when he started getting violent as he had puberty, I told her we had to at least try. And you know what? It's been a good thing. Your wife probably carries around a ton of mom guilt. Parents blame themselves for their children having autism. Do your best to empathize. Know what you've gone through. She is too, in a different way. Need a break. Find a hobby away from your kids. Hiking, working out, woodworking, something that you can decompress alone. And lastly, do not hurt yourself. This world and the lives your family and friends will be less without you. They will not be better off. You are important. It's tough right now, but it will get better. I promise. Keep reaching out. If you need to DM someone, hit me up. Take care. I'm pulling for you. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about this video, because this is deep. There are a lot of parents walking around with these issues, but I'm looking forward in the comment. Let me know, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.